So we've been pondering this question lately, and we've been asked it quite a bit, and recently a lot. How do we afford the lifestyle that we have when we live on a budget? And you're probably asking, why am I looking at a kitchen? Well, this kitchen was my very first kitchen that I have ever remodeled, and these countertops were countertops that I built from scratch, just from regular lumber from the hardware store. I show you this because these cost about $350 for the lumber, the stain, and the polyurethane, and like the miscellaneous supplies like the brushes and things like that. But with that being said, we got a quote to get countertops put into this place. And this is a house that we purchased that needed a lot of love. There was a wall where that bar is. And with that quote for those countertops, for a not fancy, but a solid surface, stone type countertop, was over $3,000. That's ridiculous. I refuse to pay $3,000 for countertops. Now, if it's going to cook my dinner, do my grocery shopping, give me a foot massage, then I would consider it. But that would have to be like a lifetime perk. So this has been about 2 years since I built the countertops, and I will show some of the process pictures and the supplies that you would need and tell you how I did it just very quickly, because if I can do it, you can do it. But in my fashion, I like to bite off more than I can generally chew, but it usually comes out okay because I take a chance. So again, it's been about 2 years, and the countertops have fared decently well. I did baby them in the beginning, and I threatened murder to anybody who dented, dinged, scratched, or left a ring on them. So I've lightened up just a little bit, but again, I will still threaten murder to anybody who damages them. But to call Mr. Explorer, my husband, out, he likes to sit in this chair, and he likes to have a knife in his pocket at all times. And so he has successfully created divots where he sits, because for some reason it likes to get caught on the countertop. But for a sharp object like that, I would say we're doing okay on how they're standing up for $350. Now, this is a 8-foot by 4-foot countertop. The one back here is about 6.5 feet, if I'm remembering correctly, and the one over there is 5 feet. Now, I do get asked sometimes too, if you're living on a budget, you have stainless steel appliances, those cost a lot. We got these from a scratch and dent place, and you can see one of the dents on the refrigerator, or 2 of them. Normally we put like a magnet over it or something over them, but they really don't bother you. We ended up getting the cooktop, which is also an oven below, the French door, countertop depth, stainless steel refrigerator, and a quiet dishwasher for under $2,000. The fridge itself would have cost more than that, and the stoves that don't have the backs on them tend to be very pricey, so we were okay with that. I also get asked about the sink, because it is a Mac Daddy sink. This thing is the best thing if you have a medium-sized dog. It is so perfect, but it is a rectangle sink, and I got it on Amazon, just the sink itself, for about $140, and it comes with some random stuff that sits on top to dry your dishes, but we just don't really use it. And then the faucet came from Amazon, and I used coupons, and I got it for $35. We keep getting asked, how do we afford to travel and do everything that we do in our other videos? And it's because, and someone coined this term for us, we are considered ballers on a budget. We do whatever we can do first, and then we hire things out. And if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to learn it. Thanks for looking at my kitchen, but there was a deeper lesson in here.
Save money where you can. You may not have to do a whole new kitchen, but you can start little. Use coupons. If there's something you have to buy, see if you can find it cheaper and use those extra pennies and dollars to experience the other things in life. The things that you may think you don't have enough cash flow for, but you can find it in the crevices of where there's a gap of what you're spending now versus what you can save.
Stay tuned for some more information on what I use to make the countertops, some tips, and just a general idea of how they're made. I started off by getting some 10-foot long by 10-inch wide Douglas fir planks from the local home big box store. Minus the 2 long strips of wood in the picture, I used everything seen here, along with a dowel kit, which can be found at Harbor Freight, pictured here. It was the best place that I could find this kit and was a big lifesaver in joining the boards together. Also, I had some different grits of sandpaper, working my way all the way up to 120. After joining the boards together with the dowel system and the Gorilla Wood glue, I made sure to get clamps to clamp everything nice and tight. Mixed the sawdust from doing a preliminary sanding on the tops of the countertops and the Gorilla Wood glue together to make a putty. You have to work really fast and do it in batches, but I filled the cracks and crevices between the boards, that way food wouldn't drop between. At this point, I cut them to length, giving an extra inch. I knew I was going to be sanding and needing to trim them again, so I allowed for that in the extra space. I went back down to 80 grit sandpaper and worked my way up to 120, using the more coarse sandpaper where the glue was, because if you put too much on, it's going to be a lot of sanding. I probably spent over 3 hours just in sanding these because I wanted them super, super smooth. After all of that sanding, I needed a few margaritas, so after a few breaks, I came back with wood conditioner. This stuff is awesome and it goes a long way. I made sure to only work on one countertop at a time if there was anything that needed to dry. After the wood conditioner set, I started with the poly shades, which is polyurethane mixed with a stain. There were 4 coats of this, sanding with steel wool in between each coat. Then there were 3 coats of spar urethane, again sanding with the steel wool between each coat, giving enough time to dry. This is a multi-day process and was done in my garage. That way I could control the temperature a little bit better. And that's pretty much it. Once everything was dry and cured, we were able to install everything to the cabinetry using screws from below and supports where needed where there was an overhang. The polyurethane used is not food safe, but we weren't ones to set our naked food on the countertops anyways, so this worked out for us. I probably did a little bit of an overkill with all of the coatings, but I wanted to have these be protected, especially around the sink where the most moisture was going to be. And the hubby, he ended up putting a bottle of the concentrated bleach on the counter and it leaked. And I have to say, after a mini major freak out, you can't even tell that there was anything there. It did take about a month for that to go away. But safe to say, the husband is alive and we live to travel another day. Comment below if you think this is a project that you could do or if you have any questions. We really do appreciate you stopping by our channel and watching our videos. Please help us grow by subscribing, sharing with your friends, and clicking that like button.